Rello on her.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a closer look at the vectoroptics Tauron 1:6x24 LPVO. I've had this mounted on a couple of rifles, the Alex Pro AR-15 with a 16-inch barrel and also a stery AUG also with a 16-inch barrel. Both of these were chambered in 5.56 223 and I've got some solid range time behind them. So in this video I'll be breaking down the glass clarity, the field of view at 100 yards, reticle usability, the durability, and just how this optic holds up on a live fire. This is just real shooting and impressions. So the Tauron 1:6x24 is Vector's budget-minded LPVO, but they've been pushing hard to give shooters more value for their price point. And out of the box, it feels pretty solid. Nice matte anodizing, no tool marks or sloppy machining. And for the weight, it's not overly heavy, so you don't feel like you're throwing a boat anchor on your rifle. Now let's talk about the most important part, the glass. Vector uses fully multi-coated glass here, and for the price, it's surprisingly clear. When I put the camera behind it and zoomed in at 100 yards, you guys can see the detail. It doesn't have like that milky haze that you get sometimes on the cheaper LPVOs. The edge-to-edge clarity is decent, meaning you don't get a lot of distortion or fisheye on the edges at the 1X. It's not quite true red dot feel, but it's close. It doesn't feel like you're looking through a magnifying glass, which is a big deal when you're running with both eyes open. So here's something that stood out to me. At 1X, you get around 124 feet of field of view at 100 yards. And when you crank it all the way up to 6 times, you're looking at about 20 feet. That's competitive in this class. Plenty wide at low magnification for close quarter engagements. It's still usable when you're stretching it out. On the range, I noticed I didn't feel cramped or tunnel vision when scanning for distance. The reticle is a second focal plane, which is expected at this price. Illumination is decent. It's daylight visible in good conditions, but it's not a true red dot replacement in full sun. Indoors or in the shade though, it pops just fine. The reticle design is simple, clean, easy to pick up without clutter. And honestly, I'll take the simple and fast over overly complicated holdovers when I'm pushing out the 6X. So for testing, I first ran it on my Alex Pro AR-15 and I put about 200 rounds through that setup. And I also ran it with a FRT. I ran maybe 65 rounds with a FRT. I reduced the power with the buffers in it to try to get it to run a little faster. I ran it with some 60 grain VMAX. It didn't really like that, so I had to go back to the higher power 5.56. Well, I had to go back to the higher power 55 grain, and it just ran. The recoil isn't exactly heavy on 5.56, but I wanted to see if the optic would lose zero, shift, or have any issues. And I gotta say, there was no problems at all. It even fell a few times. Setting it up on the camera, I need to start recording everything, like setting up on camera and everything. It fell with the Alex Pro from about a height of 4 feet onto wood. So this was a sturdy walkway. I was shooting at my mom's house off of the deck and it fell right on top of the optic. Minimal scuffing, did not lose zero. And the second time that it actually dropped, I had it on my stery AUG. And I was pushing out to long range. I had it in the Kopfjäger K700 with the Hellbound grip. And you know, the AUG doesn't really have a forend to grip onto, so when I clasped it down, it sort of slipped off because, you know, the AUG is a smooth-ended rifle. It only has that foregrip in the barrel and the gas block. It's all that you have up front. Safe to say it slipped off and it just hit the ground. So then after I swapped it over to the stery AUG, which uses a 16-inch setup, I ran about 80 rounds through that. The AUG has a very different balance and recoil impulse, so it was interesting to see how the Tauron handled it and the transitions. Again, there was no issues. The glass clarity on the bullpup platform actually felt really good, especially because of how compact the rifle is. If anything, I say the AUG made the optics shine a little more just because it kept the whole package compact, but yet it was still versatile. You have that bullpup where the action is in the back, and you also have sort of a cheek well, and it does give you a higher rise. So as you can see on my AUG, the riser sets up a little further, plus you have the scope range, so that brings a good heads up. And the eye relief and the eye box, it was pretty good on there. So now onto that. The eye relief on this optic is about 3.9 inches, which is right in line for LPVOs. On the AR, it felt natural. No issues getting into a good sight picture. And on the AUG with the different stock setup, I did have to adjust my cheeks slightly, but it still worked fine. I think it worked better with the AUG. The eye box isn't super forgiving at 6x. You do need to be behind it properly, but at 1x to 4x, you don't have to worry about that. You can easily get behind that, make shots quickly. Now for the durability. From a durability standpoint, I wasn't babying it. I knocked it around during the transitions a couple of times, bumped it on the bench, no shift to zero. Like I stated before, it failed twice, once on the AR and once on the AUG. And through the 280 rounds, I can say confidently, no shift in zero, as you will be able to see out to long range. I stated before that it did shine a little better on the AUG. I don't know what type of accuracy was on that AUG, but it shows more accuracy than my spikes because I can go out to 600 with that thing with no problems at all. It just depends on what I zero it with. So on the Alex Pro and on the AUG, I did not change the zero. I zeroed it at 36 yards with the Alex Pro, and I just took it off, swapped it out with the Swamp Fox, and stuck it on the AUG. No zeroing, nothing. During the transition of actually moving it over, somehow or another it went off of cant and it did not stay stable, so I had to recant it and get it back lined up. And I gotta say, that's the only thing that I did to it. Straighten it out, make sure the lines were straight, and what do you know, pushed out the 600, no issues at all. So I stepped up from the 200 to 300 to 400. The 200 I held dead on. 300 held dead on, minimal drop. I held at the neckline and it hit at the belly button at 300. 400 held at the head, hit in the chest. 500 you do have to hold over a little more, simply because of the types of bullets that you're using. When I shot it out the long range on both days, there were no wind, so it was perfect days. So, and the elements just didn't cause any kind of shift in the point of aim, so I didn't have to worry about that. So to wrap this up, the Vectoroptics Tauron 1:6x24 really surprised me. The glass is clear for the price, and the field of view is competitive. The reticle is simple, it's fast, and it held zero across two different rifles with almost 300 rounds total. For you guys looking to get into the LPVOs without dropping high-end money, this is definitely worth looking at. Now, I didn't do a box test or anything crazy. I want it to be more of a real-world practical test. And from what I've seen, it passed. This might be the way to go. That said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Would you trust a budget LPVO, or are you sticking with red dots and magnifiers? I'm curious to see where you guys stand at. Alright, now that's going to do it for this one. But if you enjoyed the video, hit that like, share, subscribe. Come back and enjoy some more videos. Stick around for more optics testing. We got plenty more coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Impact. Missed.
Hit something. I seen something fly up.
I think it was the base of it. Nope. I need to come up in the elevation.
I ain't got no call for you, bro.
Nah, Yep, there it goes. Come on, bird, move. The back. One more. Oh, now I heard that one good. Yeah.
That moved the target.
Yeah.
The target moved at that time.
So with this 36-yard zero, it is a interesting zero because I did not have to hold much elevation. I used the third BDC drop and I'm able to connect out to 600. All the other ones I used dead on, well, 200 and 300 dead on in the center, and 400 I used the first hash mark. So it got me wondering how far I can actually shoot this 6 times out with this if I use 55. Well, I know, and it's a perfect day today because there is no wind out there at all. So I mean, it's shooting lights out. When people say that the AUG is not accurate, they're lying. This is the trigger is the only downfall to it, and even if you get used to it to manipulate it, it's gonna cook. So that is the Vector Tauron 1:6. This scope is probably one of the cleaner 6-time scopes that I have shot. It is right there with the primary arms SLX lines, but I would say overall, man, and y'all know I get this stuff a lot. I have beat this scope. I have beat it to smithereens. My buddy didn't want it to fall. I was gonna let it fall. Like, I care about my stuff, but at the same time, I use it and I use it hard, but I don't intentionally want to abuse the hell out of it. But I do use it. This is what they essentially hired me to do, is use this stuff hard. It comes across that people think that this stuff is airsoft rated. It is not. The AUG has some decent recoil to it. Even though it's a 5.56, it does have decent recoil. It holds 0, as you can see right here. I think I probably put, I want to say up to date. Let's see, I used 2 magazines here. We did the running gun, used 2 magazines. With this rifle and the AR-15, I probably have 400, 420 rounds, give or take, on this optic. And he can vouch for you, I did not re-zero this back end. I took it straight off of my other AR, slapped it up here, did not touch a 0, and it went out. That was the results of it right there. So when people say they don't hold 0, that's a lie. Oh, and I also had to straighten the scope back out.